First she told me to get out of the class, and then I said no. She goes in the hallway, and she said, this girl's wearing a Romney Ryan shirt. Teacher said, are your parents Republican? I said, I don't know. And she said, that's like her wearing a KKK shirt because she knows nothing about it.
Well, she claims her teacher mocked her for wearing a Romney Ryan shirt, and now her family is suing. The lawsuit is claiming the Philadelphia School District ignored 16-year-old Samantha Pelusi's right to free speech and let other students harass her and subject her to emotional distress. To our legal eagles, in tonight's Let Me Be Brief segment, trial attorneys Anahita Sedaghatfar and says Samantha's got a good case, and Deborah Blum, she sides with the schools. So, Deborah, let's start with you. Why is the school right?
The school was not involved. The teacher was acting in an individual capacity, not in her official capacity. Granted, her actions were completely wrong. The evidence does not support that the school had promulgated a policy of limiting the students' free speech, so the school is absolutely not liable here.
How can I not be part of my employer's work if I'm performing my teaching duties? Aren't I basically representing the school district?
You are, but I would say that this is an exception to that. This teacher's actions were completely wrong, and they were not following the policy of the school. The school here allowed the students to dress down for the day. They typically have to wear uniforms, and the students made this choice, and the teacher went out on a complete limb and reacted completely inappropriately, but that was not consistent with what the school typically does, and the school is taking steps now to prevent this from happening in the future.
Anahita, you take the opposite side. Why does she have a case?
The student absolutely has a case, and I believe the school district is certainly vicariously liable because the U.S. Supreme Court has been clear. Students do not check their constitutional rights at the schoolhouse gates. And the Supreme Court has already acknowledged, the United States Supreme Court, that student dress is a form of free speech that cannot be restricted unless the school can show with evidence, tangible evidence, that that dress will cause a substantial distraction in the school. This teacher had an agenda, and she did not agree with this poor student's beliefs, and she decided to bully her. The people that we entrust our students with were the perpetrators of the crime here.
That's a very good point. And Deborah, I mean, it's the bullying thing which I'm curious about, because you can't let she said that she was bullied because of this whole situation. And doesn't the school have a responsibility to help her out?
The school does have a responsibility to help her out. They've met with her family, and they're doing everything they can. The school did not promote this attitude. I agree. Free speech is protected by the First Amendment. Students have that right in the school, but this was not the school's policy. This teacher was grossly inappropriate, and unless the family or their lawyers can show that this teacher had done this before, there's simply not enough to link the school to the teacher's actions.
And Anahita, I thought the schools did have the right, and I don't know the court cases, you do, but I thought they had the right to say, listen, you can't just wear anything you want to school. You could come with a T-shirt or a sign or something that was inflammatory, would create problems, fights, all kinds of things, and the schools have been given some sort of jurisdiction over your free speech rights while you're in the property of the school. Am I right or wrong?
And you're right about that. School districts certainly have an interest in protecting what goes on in their school, the safety of the students, the order of their school. But school officials cannot arbitrarily just set rules like this when, like I said before, the Supreme Court has acknowledged that dress is a form of free speech. In this case, there was no disruption. If anyone caused the substantial disruption, it was this agenda-driven teacher. And I use that term teacher loosely. And I actually disagree with your other guest. I believe that if the school district had no liability in this, why is the teacher still working there? Where are the teachers' unions? Perhaps this in fact highlights one of the major problems that we have with teacher unions.
Well, that's another whole show.
They can't fire bad teachers.
That's another whole show about teachers and the fact that you can't fire them. So what kind of remedy could they possibly get out of this?
Well, by going after the school, they're looking for money. Perhaps the school will instruct the teachers in the future to not do such a thing, and hopefully this will not happen again. But the school is not liable.
And
the teacher just made a huge mistake.
What kind of damages? I mean.
Right. I would definitely, if I was representing the student in this case, and I think that the plaintiff's attorney is seeking punitive damages, not just compensatory, but punitive damages to teach this school and this teacher a lesson that you cannot arbitrarily trump a student's constitutionally recognized First Amendment rights. They need to be taught a lesson, and I hope the jurors and the judge do the right thing in this case.
Just to say, the school was not the one responsible. This teacher went out on her own based on her ill-conceived notions, and she should be punished.
All right.
But the school district itself should not be punished.
Anahita, Deborah, thank you, ladies, very much. Appreciate you coming on.
Thank you very much.
You bet.
Thank you.